On today's episode of the Cryptoverse, people are saying that we're in a new bull run. I'll give you my perspective on that. There's this research paper floating around saying that EOS is not a blockchain. I'll give you my perspective on that. BancorX is now live, which means you can trade tokens in between the EOS network and the Ethereum network. That's a first for crypto. The Ledger hardware wallet now supports IOTA. I've tested it. It works as expected. And this German economist from the Bundesbank is suggesting that the Italian citizens have 20% of their net wealth confiscated from them and then forced to buy government bonds. I'll talk to you about that as well. And at the end, just as a bit of fun, I'll show you that I was fighting BitMex on CSGO last night and I happened to take a screenshot. So if you want to see that, wait till the end. In any case, timestamps for all of that are down in the show notes if you want to skip ahead. And if you're new around here and you want to support the show and get paid cryptocurrency rewards and remove ads, all you have to do is check out the website, which is thecryptoverse.show. If you click on that big blue button there that says get paid to watch, there's a 2-minute explainer video that shows you how you can support the show, get rid of the ads, and earn cryptocurrency rewards. For now though, let's get into the video. So people are saying we're in a new bull run. Well, I say not yet, and I'll show you why. So first of all, let's go over to CoinMarketCap and look at the total market capitalization. You can kind of do technical analysis on this, right? You can do support and resistance lines and so on. You can clearly see things like here, back from the 1st of September area, where it got stuck. So yes, on the far right of the chart, there is an uptrend in the total market cap, but really, we really need to clear like this resistance I just pointed out at $240 billion market cap for me to have confidence that we are consistently in this uptrend. On top of that, that rise up to $240 billion market cap and a break of it, I would also want to see Bitcoin break 7,500 as part of that increase in market cap. So until that happens, I'm not calling new bull run, all right? Now, XRP has contributed a lot to this increase in the total market cap. There's a lot of excitement around XRP over the last few days with regards to adoption in the Middle East and Ripple's intention to open office in Dubai. There's also some exchanges that are starting to list XRP as the base currency that everything's traded against. That's interesting because if XRP became the default crypto that all exchanges traded cryptos against, that would be kind of cool because that's what XRP is designed for, right? You could just do these from exchange to exchange transfers really, really quickly. So maybe that's part of the excitement. But that's all I'm going to say about the market cap thing for now. Let's move on to the next story, which is this research paper that's being passed around suggesting that EOS is not actually a blockchain. So what I've done is I've downloaded this PDF file and I have uploaded it to my Google Drive just to make sure it doesn't go missing. All right. So you can check this out for yourself. It's called EOS, an Architectural, Performance and Economic Analysis. It's reasonably long. It's like 25 pages. It's written like a scientific paper. The bottom line here is that the only people that are really qualified to write a comprehensive response to this are the developers of the EOS IO software, Block 1. Now in the past, Dan Larimer, the creator of EOS IO, he's taken time in the past to fire back when anyone has done some critique of the EOS technology. Maybe he'll do that this time. While we wait for that, I'm going to give you a few highlights of the things that I noticed when I checked out the report. The first thing I want to point out is that the first 2 authors listed in this report are researchers from ConsenSys, whose entire business is based on the success of Ethereum. So ConsenSys is ConsenSys.net if you want to go check them out. It's going to be rather difficult for 2 researchers who work for ConsenSys to analyze the biggest threat to Ethereum and do it objectively. So that's just a point I want to make. Another thing is, here's a quote from the beginning of the report. It says, quote, "Since the public release of the EOS mainnet, multiple parties have speculated and made claims of the system's ability to provide processing capabilities in the range of 5,000 to 1 million transactions per second. However, such performance has yet to be observed in a production network," close quote. Well, okay, I would say that's false. It's technically true because they say in the range of 5,000 to 1 million transactions a second. What we do know for a fact is that the EOS mainnet has recorded a throughput of 3,996 transactions per second on the production network that is the EOS mainnet. So this is the whole rollout of the EOS IO software. They released version 1 in its unoptimized form, and it's already able to do 4,000 transactions per second on-chain proven in a production environment. And then every time they iterate on the software, parallelization kicks in and so on, so that that capacity can be grown over time. But already 4,000 transactions a second is pretty fast, right? Even in version 1.4, whatever we're on now. You could use that same argument and flip it the other way, right? You could say that sharding and plasma technologies are also supposed to allow Ethereum to scale, but no such thing has been demonstrated on a production network. So it's kind of a daft argument. Also, from the introduction refers to 2017 and the number of ICOs that raised, tons of money in 2017. Like 500 ICOs raised all this money. Now, Block 1 did not conduct a token offering to raise money. They explicitly said that. They said publicly that they already had enough money to develop the EOS IO software to version 1. And that was thanks to all the private investment they got in their own company. The purpose of the EOS token sale was not to raise money. It was simply a mechanism by which to make sure that tokens were distributed as widely as possible, which is essential for the delegated proof of stake system to work, because there's voting involved. So if you have a concentration of tokens, which may happen if you do a 30-day ICO and then all sells out in 24 hours, someone might hold 80 or 90% of the tokens, right? So having a year-long token distribution gave ample opportunity for everyone to hear about it and get as many tokens as they wanted. Now that's still down to the free market, so if there's concentration of tokens, that wasn't because the mechanism wasn't fair. It absolutely was fair. It gave everyone ample opportunity. Okay. Now, whenever this method of token distribution, the year-long ICO thing, is criticized, I've yet to come across anyone who suggests a method that is superior. So if you have a superior way of distributing tokens to make sure a delegated proof of stake system is fairly distributed, please let me know in the comments below. So those are my observations in principle. The other thing I'll say is that the paper focuses on the fact that EOS uses accounts, the accounts layer as an abstraction of private keys. They use that as one of the arguments that EOS is not a blockchain. Well, this account abstraction thing is a feature that allows EOS to be so flexible, okay? Now, this is my real point though. BitShares and Steem, they're also structured like this. I'm just wondering why EOS had to come along and threaten Ethereum before a paper was written like this, criticizing this technological structure. You could have criticized it when BitShares was launched 2 or 3 years ago. You could have written this paper criticizing this technology when Steem was launched a couple of years ago, but it took a threat to Ethereum before this showed up. I just thought that was a massive coincidence. So why feel the need to write such a paper anyway, right? That's a lot of researchers' time. Writing a paper defending against a competitor. I don't see them doing this for every other Ethereum competitor, do you? Why do you suppose that is? Why aren't they writing scientific papers calling out the flaws in the technologies of all the other smart contract platforms that are competing with Ethereum? Why write one about EOS specifically? As always, please do your own research, and the only conclusion that matters is the one that you come to yourself. I'm just offering information for you to include in that analysis. And speaking of EOS to Ethereum transfers, BancorX is now live, allowing tokens to be traded in between EOS and Ethereum for the first time ever. So this comes from the Bancor blog. Here it is. BancorX is live, automated conversions between Ethereum and EOS tokens. I actually have 2 blog posts about this. You've most likely encountered this problem though, the problem that this solves, which is, say you have, for example, a bunch of basic attention tokens and you want to sell them and buy some Everopedia tokens, say. The problem is they don't trade against each other and they're on different networks, right? Basic attention token is on Ethereum and Everopedia is on EOS. Now, thanks to Bancor, you'll be able to do that trade in one go in a decentralized way without an exchange. Kind of amazing. So this is a huge improvement over the way that you would have to do it previously, which is take your basic attention token, sell it into Ethereum, and then sell your Ethereum, buy EOS, and then sell your EOS and buy Everopedia. So that would be a bunch of trades, a bunch of fees, and a lot of friction and a lot of pain in the butt, quite frankly. Now, there's a diagram on the second blog post, which I'll show you, of exactly how this works. It's the Bancor token that really makes this possible, because the Bancor token exists in a smart contract both on the Ethereum network and on the EOS network. So all those steps that I just mentioned, where you sell your token into one and That happens, but they've kind of automated it. So you have the wallet, and then if your basic attention token would be turned into BNT, the Bancor token, that would then be exchanged on the Ethereum network Bancor to the EOS network Bancor, and then it would be used to buy the token on EOS and then transfer to your wallet. So that's probably a terrible way of describing it, but it's basically how it works. The key to the whole system basically is the Bancor tokens exist on both chains, and it allows them to keep the total supply, the same total supply of BNT tokens as it moves backwards and forwards, right, between the two chains. So you can just read the article. It'll explain it better than I did. If you're interested in getting into more of the details, then check that out. I'll link it in the show notes, as always. On to the next story. A quick note for anyone who holds IOTA. Long story short, IOTA is now supported by the Ledger hardware wallet. This has been in my news pool for a few days, and here it is on Ledger's website, official announcement. IOTA is now supported by the Ledger hardware wallet. I've tested it myself. You install the IOTA app on the device using the Ledger Manager software like you do. Then I downloaded the Trinity wallet software from IOTA's website in order to interact with the Ledger hardware wallet. I did then make a transfer from Binance, because that's where I had my IOTA for the time being, and I transferred it to my Ledger hardware wallet. So I did my old Confucius wisdom, which is never test the depth of the water with both feet. So the first thing I did was transfer just 10 IOTA tokens to make sure it worked, and then send the rest. It worked. The only problem was it took a little bit of time. It took like 10 minutes because Binance wouldn't let go of the tokens. But once they did, it showed up in the wallet almost instantaneously. So another quick story. Basic Attention Token is the latest token to be trading on Coinbase. You may have seen this floated around. Coinbase announced this on their own blog. But specifically, this is trading on Coinbase Pro. Here's the market. And guess what it's trading against? The USDC stablecoin. The stablecoin created by Coinbase in collaboration with Circle. Interesting stuff. Now, I think this trend will bring a lot more traditional traders into the crypto space. And that trend is trading stuff against US dollar stablecoins, right? More traders means more liquidity. And more liquidity is always a good thing, especially if you want mass adoption. Next story. Switching gears to a macroeconomic level. And one of the biggest reasons to be in crypto is demonstrated by this next story, which I got from Bloomberg. Check this out. A Bundesbank economist has a radical plan to halve Italy's debt. Wow, that sounds amazing. How are they going to halve Italy's debt? Well, bottom line is that this genius economist from the Bundesbank is suggesting that they take 20% of an individual's net worth and convert it into Italian solidarity bonds. Well, that's an example of mind control if I ever saw one. You know what they're going to say, like, we're doing this for the greater good of Italy, they will say. Don't think about yourself when your country needs your help. Share the burden, right? So it's guilt tripping people. I would say, excuse me, you want me to share a burden that I did not create? I don't think so. It's the same old approach that breaks every spiritual law in the book, which is this: you cannot override the rights of an individual for the good of the collective principle. And the reason you can't do that is because there is no such thing as the collective. The collective is just a group of individuals. So if you violate the right of individuals for the good of the collective, you just end up with a collective full of individuals who have been violated, all of whom who are now worse off as a result. So you just have a collection of violated individuals. So it doesn't work. You have to honor the rights of the individual so that when you put them all together, you have a thriving collective. It's the only way it's going to work. So until governments get their head around this principle, people are going to do whatever they can to protect themselves. It's like a man persuaded against his will is of the same opinion still. That's Dale Carnegie, I believe. Now, the reason why governments behave like this is that the politicians that enact these policies will never have to face the negative consequences themselves, right? I'm sure you've seen that video that was floating around a couple of weeks ago of President Maduro of Venezuela, like sitting down for a lovely meal with his lovely perfect white cloth napkin, while his personal chef very carefully slices this great big slab of prime beef. Meanwhile, the poor citizens of Venezuela are browsing the empty shelves of supermarkets, starving to death, and hunting pigeons and stuff like this. So principally, if a government spends more than it earns, what good is stealing money from the people going to do? Unless the government starts spending less than it earns, the problem remains. On to the final story, which is just a bit of fun. I ran into BitMex on Counter-Strike Global Offensive last night. You may have seen me tweet this out at the time. This was the state of affairs. That was my username there, White Knight. You can see the Cryptoverse logo there. And second from the top in the league on the counter-terrorist side is BitMex. And also there's a picture of the character once I died and I was following her around as an observer. Well, someone who, going by the name BitMex with the BitMex logo, obviously I can't prove that was the BitMex CEO or anyone who works for them. Could just be a BitMex fanboy, but there they are as a counter-terrorist mumbling around on Counter-Strike Go. But that is all I've got for you today. So if you liked this episode, go ahead and hit that like button. If you disliked it, hit the dislike button. Please leave me a comment below with some feedback, and I would very much appreciate it if you would get subscribed. Also, make sure you check out my online store, because there's a whole bunch of products on there which bear the Cryptoverse branding. And I very much appreciate you doing that, because your purchase on the online store helps to keep this channel going. Other than that, I will be back with the next episode of the Cryptoverse. So until then, it's me, Chris Coney, saying bye for now.